Hello. Today we're going to be talking about Jade Stars, which is Sirius's second ability, and it's the ability that he donates to the helmet. Unfortunately, Jade Stars is really not that good on Sirius and Orion. What it does is it creates these little heat motes that you see in the ability preview. When you deal damage with a weapon or with an ability, they will fly off of you and they will do a little bit of damage, heat damage. And this is not super great on Sirius and Orion because they don't have a weapons platform style playstyle, so it doesn't really benefit them all that much. And it doesn't really help their abilities either because an ability that shoots off motes so quickly like this, you would want it to uh, be procced by constant damage, which you're not really putting out with Sirius and Orion outside of like the black hole that Orion has. You really can't take advantage of this ability to its fullest potential on Sirius and Orion, just because like their kit doesn't really benefit this at all, which is a theme throughout their entire kit design, but that is a conversation for another day. Luckily, because it's the ability that they put in the helmet, you can use it on other frames, and my first experiment with this was okay. Thank you, Ortis. Thank you. My first experiment was with Equinox, thinking that I could do a full Dayform build where we use main, and the small little slash procs that you get from main will pulse out the Jade Stars, and I can use the damage vulnerability from Rage and the strength bonus from Provoke to boost the damage on this and have like a mini trash nuke build that would then eventually build up into a main nuke. So kind of like an ability centered Equinox, and I thought it would be fun, but unfortunately that only applies, the Jade Stars only apply on the initial cast of main. All the other instances of damage do not cause the motes to fly off of you, which is kind of lame, and I hope they fix that, but unfortunately really doesn't work with Equinox. However, I wanted to try and see if there's a frame that could benefit Jade Stars in the same way that Equinox can, with damage vulnerability, strength, and consistent, even if low, damage. Luckily, Sirius and Orion's mom fits all these criteria, and pretty well. Ophanimize can proc the Jade Stars. Ophanimize on its own is really not that strong. It's good for crowd control. It has a small amount of heat damage, which is what is going to make our build work today. And it does do like a slow armor strip thing. It's cool, and it can res people, which is fun, but not like super useful. Her one throws down like this little AoE, and it will proc those little crosses above people's heads. It will give you damage vulnerability, which is what we want. And her two allows you to cycle through different songs, which give different buffs to your teammates and to yourself. One is a strength bonus, which is what we want. And I subsume Jade Stars over her 4. You might be asking, okay, look, that's cool and all, but why not just use a glory spam alt fire build? And my answer to you is that's really, really boring, and I would rather do something that is cool and interesting and unique. I personally do not find glory very interesting to use. You just sit in the air and you just spam alt fire over and over in her one until things die, and you can nuke the entire map. Like, that's cool, but it's not very fun and it's not very interesting. Is this any better? Because ideally you're just going to be looking at enemies and watching them die. Not really. It's not really more interactive, but I think the way you get to that killing things is more interesting and funnier. So yeah, the idea behind this build is you just stare at enemies with Ophanimize and they die, which is cool. For mons, corrosive projection, good for armor strip, helps with Ophanimize, and you'll get a little bit of extra armor strip from the heat procs. Roaring power. In my showcase, I won't be using my weapons just to show how well this setup works, but if you were using like, dual Torxica or something that can apply a bunch of status effects, you'd be getting a good amount of value out of this. I'm sure-footed because I love Nightmare Frame, and Archon Vitality. This helps out with the heat procs we're getting from Jade Stars. This just gives you double. You gotta run this. You need this. Equilibrium and Flow help with our energy economy. I'm running a primer Diriga, which for those of you who don't know, you put on Synth Deconstruct. You put on some similar mods to these. Arc Coil's what we use for Diriga, and then you just have literally any good like AoE companion weapon. This will do a bunch of damage, and or not a bunch of damage, it'll damage a bunch of enemies, and it will cause them to drop health orbs because of Synth Deconstruct, which we can then turn into energy using Equilibrium. So that's kind of how we're going to keep our energy up. I full send into Strength, because why not? It'll cause our stars to do a lot more damage, a little bit of range, so we can actually like look at things and kill them from a bit farther. Want to have more range on this, I might tweak some things in this build over time, just so I can see things from farther away. But for right now, this is fine. A little bit of duration, a little bit more strength with Augmented, and Arcane Aegis helps us with survivability. And also Jade has her shield song, which also helps quite a lot, because you can snapshot the strength buff for her 4, and then you just rotate off to the weapon damage buff or to the shields. And that's totally free. You can just rotate whenever. You don't need to expend energy to swap songs, which is really awesome, really cool. So you just snapshot strength and you're good. Weapons don't really matter. I think high fire rate stuff would be really fun. I know I'm hovering over Vectis while saying this. This is just on because I like Vectis. These don't really matter. Focus School doesn't really matter. Yeah. Shards, I just have some armor. This is for a different setup with Jade. And then Parkour Velocity, because why not? So let's do like a quick little survival demo to show you what it can do. We're gonna have our Diriga prime things, kill a bunch of things, get some energy. Where's my energy, man? There we go. Now we cast Jade Stars. There, I should have done that first. There we go. And you'll see that things just kind of melt. Diriga works very well for this because it'll prime with Viral whenever it feels like it, and that'll double our damage as well. And we just kind of look at things. Yeah. Now, to keep, once you have like max augmented stacks, you're going to want to snapshot the strength bonus for your 2. So once you have that up, you will recast your 2, and then you can start popping for 1, because enemies that die with the little crosses above them will extend the duration of your 2. So if you get like a relic buff, or like the little roaming Dax in Conjunction Survival that will give you extra strength, if you want to snapshot those strength bonuses, you would cast for 2 and keep killing things within the radius of these little judgments. And as you can see, I have like a minute long duration on the song, and I can just keep extending it. The great thing is these little wells of light will also give you damage vulnerability, which will allow you to do even more damage. They also do their own little ticks of heat damage, so they can also cause Jade Stars to fly off of you. And as far as I know, they have no line of sight, so you can set like a little well up, and when things walk into it, they will take damage from Jade Stars through walls, but obviously that's much less fun than just looking at enemies and watching them die. Like, this is really funny, right? Like, unfortunately, this ability is just really not that good on Sirius and Orion. But it's really good on their mom. Eximus units do take a little bit to get killed. It will eventually kill them, but it's not going to do it very quickly. And I think that's like the main issue with this build, is this is very much a trash nuke build. This is not a endurance level cap EDA. Yeah, I don't even know if this would work in EDA. I tried it earlier. It was not going well. So yeah, this is very much base steel path, normal path, just fun build with a funny interaction. And because you're slowing things and things are getting heat rocked so often, that's just very good crowd control. However, you will take damage occasionally, and that can be a good time to swap over to your shield buff. A lot of people just don't know how strong Jade's shield buff is. If you take advantage of this to its full extent with Arcane Aegis and a bunch of like shield recharge mods, you just won't die. I'm not doing that on this build because we're not aiming to go up against anything that would be stressing our shields that much. But if you want to play Jade, I highly, highly recommend trying out a build where you utilize that. It's a very fun support build, and way more fun than just hovering above everything, killing it instantly. Alright, Acolytes are also the big weakness of this build, because if you think it takes a while to kill an Eximus, it's going to take a while to take one of these guys down. So I'm going to swap over here. Alright. Now we can go back to shields. See, it's going to take a while. It's going to take a while. One thing you can change in the build if you really want to is you can swap over to... See, like, the shield buff is very good. I'm playing like a lobotomite, and that definitely should have killed me. You can swap over to her Augment, which will allow you to do a Jade Light Beam on enemies that are affected by Judgments, which are those little crosses. And that's very good for dealing with like Demolishers and sometimes Acolytes, really, but it can help with Eximus units and tankier units. In general, her Augment is not like crazy good. I didn't use it here because I felt like if I were playing this in a real mission, if there's a tankier enemy, I can just shoot them, you know? I don't need to do everything with my abilities on this build. But yeah, you can swap to her Augment if you want. For demos, it takes a while for it to actually get going, but it's funny watching them die from a Jade Light Beam. Pretty simple setup for a build, not very crazy or in-depth. A lot of those mods can be swapped around. You can swap over to whatever weapons or companion you feel comfortable with. If you want to swap over to some other things that are more like cost efficient for you, go for it. It's not that deep. Really, all you need is Archon Vitality, a bunch of strength, and something to deal with energy economy and survivability. But yeah, have fun with it. It's cool. Hopefully I'll be posting some more Warframe or other content, because there's a lot of cool stuff to be done in this update. New arcanes are really interesting, and the stuff you can do with Jade Stars is really cool. But yeah, I'll see you all later.